My name is Eliza. I'm 34, a business school grad, and co-founder of a logistics software startup based out of Seattle. 3 years ago, I left a stable job with benefits and a corner office to build something with my younger brother, Adrian. He was the tech wizard. I handled operations, finance, investor relations, everything behind the scenes. Together, we built the company from 2 laptops in my dining room into a team of over 50, with a multi-million-dollar valuation. But from the beginning, people always saw him as the face of the company. He was loud, charismatic, great with clients and media. And me? I was the spreadsheet ghost in the back room. Even our early investors would say things like, "Eliza, you must be so proud of your brother's vision." It stung. But I swallowed it. Because I believed in what we were building. Because I thought Adrian was someone I could trust. That belief nearly destroyed me. 6 months ago, I collapsed during a client pitch in San Francisco. One moment I was answering a question about scalability, the next I was face down on the conference room floor. The doctor said it was a ruptured ovarian cyst that triggered internal bleeding. Emergency surgery. Blood transfusion. 4 days in the ICU. I barely remember any of it. But I remember waking up to Adrian sitting beside my hospital bed, eyes bloodshot. He told me not to worry about the company, that he'd take care of everything, that I should focus on healing. At the time, it sounded like comfort. Now I realize it was a calculated move. When I returned home, still sore and dizzy from meds, I checked in with the team. Everyone seemed calm. Operations were smooth. Payroll had gone out. Adrian even told me we'd signed a new client while I was out. But something felt off. I logged into our company account portal to catch up. My admin credentials didn't work. I tried again. Error. So I reached out to our head of HR, Tanya. "Hey," I asked, trying to sound casual, "did Adrian change something in the system while I was out?" There was a long pause. Then she replied, "I think you should check with legal." That's when my stomach dropped. I checked the corporate registry filings the next morning. My name had been quietly removed from the co-founder ownership clause, replaced with a 2% advisory stake. My own brother had filed an amendment with the state. While I was unconscious in a hospital bed. While I was literally bleeding out, he didn't even wait for me to wake up. I remember staring at the document on my screen, seeing his signature on the updated articles of incorporation. I wanted to believe it was a mistake, that it was temporary, that maybe it was done for legal protection or investor optics. But then I saw the email, sent from his personal account to our corporate lawyer. "Now that Eliza's technically out of operations, let's finalize full transfer. She won't fight it. She's too weak." I couldn't breathe. The man I built everything with. The man I protected during sleepless funding rounds, angry vendors, and 2 near lawsuits, had stripped me of my legacy while I was unconscious. And he thought I wouldn't fight back. He was wrong. I didn't scream, I didn't call, I did something else. I opened my laptop, logged into the finance backend he didn't know I still had access to, and stared at the payroll button. 1 click. That's all it would take to make sure no one got paid on Friday. Let's see how well Adrian explains that to his precious team. The day I learned about the ownership change, I didn't confront him. Not yet. I knew Adrian. Knew how he talked in circles. How he could charm even the most skeptical investor with half a sentence and a well-placed smile. If I called him, he'd deny everything. Say it was for the good of the company. Blame the lawyers. Act like I was overreacting. So I didn't give him that chance. Instead, I started gathering proof. I emailed the law firm directly and requested all documents filed in the last 60 days. The assistant, not knowing anything was wrong, sent them right over. There it was. A forged board vote. 3 digital signatures, including mine. Only, I never signed anything. The date on the document? March 12th. I was under general anesthesia that day. Adrian had literally faked my vote. He had digitally signed on my behalf using a copy-paste signature file from a past deal memo. I had that file saved too. He was sloppy. He thought because I wasn't loud, I wasn't watching. But I had receipts. All of them. And I wasn't going to court. Not yet. I wanted something better. I logged into our back-end payroll system. My access was limited, But I still had admin permissions under my old credentials for one system, financial scheduling. Apparently, hadn't thought to check that one. I saw the upcoming payroll draft queued for Friday. Over $100,000 ready to process. I toggled the override setting. Switched the account to manual approval. Now the system would wait for a human to confirm before releasing funds. Then I backed up every email, every doc, every login trace I could find. I encrypted it all in a cloud folder labeled Fire Insurance, because if Adrian was going to light the company on fire, I was going to make sure he felt the heat. The next morning, I showed up at the office. Adrian's face froze when he saw me walk in. "Eliza? You're not cleared to work yet." I smiled. Doctor said I could move. Never said I couldn't think. He followed me to my old office, now mysteriously occupied by someone else. "Just checking on a few things," I said, not making eye contact. He tried to laugh it off. "You should rest. Everything's under control." I turned. "Oh, I know." I left that day without another word. By Thursday afternoon, the finance team started noticing something was wrong. "We're getting error codes on payroll," Tanya messaged me. Adrian started panicking. I could hear his voice through the glass walls. Frustrated. Confused. He thought it was a glitch. Called IT. Blamed the bank. But the truth? P. I had simply turned the switch off. One button. One click. And now his empire, the one he tried to steal, was suddenly frozen. Just like he tried to freeze me out. But I wasn't gone. I was very much awake. And he was about to find out the hard way that the quiet sister knows exactly where the bodies are buried. Friday morning hit like a wave. Emails started flooding in before 8 a.m. subject lines were all the same. Payroll missing. Direct deposit delayed. Is the company going under? I watched from my apartment balcony, sipping tea like it was just another peaceful day. Adrian, meanwhile, was in full meltdown mode. He called me 6 times before noon. I didn't answer. Then came the texts. "Eliza, something's wrong with the payment system. Can you check on your end? Did you touch anything?" I smiled at the last one. He knew. Not officially, not yet. But deep down, he knew. Only one person could have done this. The one person he forgot could still hold a match. And I hadn't even lit the flame yet. By 1 p.m., Tanya sent out a company-wide message. "Due to technical issues, payroll may be delayed until Monday. We sincerely apologize." I knew what would happen next. Team morale would plummet. Slack channels would explode. People would talk. They'd wonder if we'd run out of money, if something shady was happening. And Adrian? Boo! He'd have to stand there and take it. Because technically, he was the only listed founder now, the only one with signing power. And guess what? Chama. He couldn't explain the delay without revealing what he did. Poetic, isn't it? I opened the file I'd labeled Ownership Transfer Fraud. It contained everything. The forged signature timestamps, the metadata, the legal files, even a screen recording of the email Adrian sent to the lawyer. He had typed it from our shared Gmail account, then forgot to delete it from the sent folder. That one mistake? It was enough to ruin him. But I wasn't done. I scheduled a meeting with our lead investor, Margaret Lynn, the woman who had cut us our first $1 million check. She respected Adrian, but she trusted me. Always had. She once told me, "You're the anchor. Adrian's the sail." Now the sail had tried to cut the anchor loose, and the boat was tipping. I arrived early and printed everything. Margaret was already seated when I walked in. "Eliza," she said with a raised brow, "I thought you were still on medical leave." I sat down and slid the folder across the table. I was, until my brother tried to erase me from the company I built. Her eyes narrowed. She flipped through the documents in silence. When she reached the forged vote, she stopped cold. "This is real?" I nodded. "And the system glitch?" "Intentional," I said. He wanted me out. I paused payroll to get your attention. Margaret closed the folder, sat back, and for the first time in years I saw her expression shift. From neutral to lethal. "Eliza," she said slowly, "you're going to send this to the board." I didn't flinch. "I already have." By Monday morning, Adrian's world would collapse. But the best part? I hadn't broken a single rule. Just flipped the switch he forgot I still had. By Monday, everything was quiet. Too quiet. The kind of silence that comes before a storm. Adrian hadn't responded to my last email. Probably because I hadn't sent one. He was still guessing. Still hoping the glitch would resolve itself. Still thinking I was bluffing. But at 10:04 a.m., the board called an emergency meeting. Virtual. No warning. 7 faces on the screen. Adrian logged in from his office, flustered. I logged in from mine, calm. Margaret was the first to speak. "We've received credible evidence of a serious governance breach." Adrian cleared his throat. "What breach?" Margaret didn't blink. "Eliza, would you like to begin?" I shared my screen, opened the folder, walked them through each file. Each forged document, each fraudulent signature. No one interrupted, not even Adrian. He just stared at the screen, like it was betraying him in real time. When I played the screen recording of his email to the lawyer, he looked away. I paused. This is the man who's been calling himself the sole founder. I looked directly into the camera. "But I built this company too." Adrian finally spoke. "It wasn't like that. I thought." "You thought I wouldn't wake up," I cut in. "You thought I wouldn't notice." Silence. Then Margaret leaned forward. "I'm recommending a formal vote to suspend Adrian as acting CEO pending legal review." He jolted. "What? You can't be serious." One of the board members, Raj, spoke next. "Adrian, we trusted you. This is criminal. I was protecting the company. You were stealing it." The vote was called. All 7 voted yes. Adrian was officially suspended, effective immediately. I didn't gloat, didn't smile. I just logged off and sat back, letting the weight of it all settle into my bones. He tried to erase me, tried to wear the crown alone. Now the throne was gone. By noon, the company Slack was in chaos. People were hearing whispers that Adrian was out, that the board had stepped in, that something big had happened. I didn't say a word. I let the silence build. By 2 p.m., Tanya called me. "Eliza, people are asking if we're okay." I exhaled. "Tell them payroll will be restored within the hour." "And Adrian? He won't be attending stand-ups anymore." I re-enabled the payment queue. Clicked approve. And just like that, everyone was paid. It took 3 days for the official statement to go out. Founder Adrian Torres to step down amid internal restructuring. Eliza Torres appointed interim CEO. I hadn't asked for it, I didn't beg for it. But justice, when you let it grow slowly, speaks louder than vengeance. And Adrian? Pah, he finally understood. The quiet ones aren't weak, we're just patient. And when we move like ice. Slow, silent, and unstoppable. By Tuesday morning, my inbox was full. Journalists, bloggers, LinkedIn vultures. Everyone wanted to know what happened. Is it true your brother forged legal documents? Can you confirm internal drama at TorqueRoot? Will you be keeping the CEO title permanently? I ignored most of them, until a reporter from Tech North sent a simple email. "You don't have to say much. Just tell your side." And for some reason, that got to me. Not because I needed to clear my name, but because someone finally asked. Your side. Not Adrian's, not the board's. Mine. I agreed to a phone interview. No flashy headlines, no gossip, just facts. I told them what happened. From the hospital bed to the forged documents. From the revoked admin access to the frozen payroll. The reporter was silent when I finished. Then he said, "That's one of the coldest things I've ever heard." I laughed, but it wasn't out of joy. I didn't do it to be cold, I said. I did it because it was the only way anyone would listen. The story ran 2 days later. No clickbait, no drama, just the headline. She co-founded it. He tried to cut her out while she was in recovery. It spread faster than I expected, people commented. Not just tech insiders, but regular people. Sisters, daughters, co-founders. They wrote, "This happened to me too. I gave everything and got erased. Eliza, thank you for speaking." It was overwhelming and oddly healing. For the first time, I didn't feel invisible. My inbox filled with resumes. People wanted to work with me. Investors asked if I had other ideas in the pipeline. I wasn't even looking. But now they were. The irony? Adrian used to say I was the boring one. Too meticulous. Too cautious. Too behind the scenes. He called me insurance. Now, insurance had rebuilt the company from the ground up without him. One afternoon, I got a text from his number. "Can we talk?" I didn't respond. So he sent another. "You in. I'm out. But don't act like you didn't want this." I stared at it. Typed. Deleted. Typed again. And finally sent. I wanted partnership. You wanted power. We're both getting exactly what we earned. He never texted back. That weekend, I drove up to the coast. No laptop. No signal. Just wind, salt air, and silence. I sat on a rock, stared at the waves, and let my shoulders drop for the first time in months. This wasn't revenge. It was a reckoning. Because when people try to bury you, they never expect you to grow roots. But I did. And now? HESIT. Now I'm blooming where he thought I'd break. A week passed. Then, too, the dust started to settle. The team adjusted quickly. We reshuffled leadership. Promoted the people Adrian used to ignore. Tanya became head of people. Jonas from product, who Adrian once called too slow, became director of strategy. We didn't just recover, we accelerated. The day we hit our quarterly goals early, I bought the team cupcakes. No speech, no drama. Just a quiet thank you note, signed by me. Not us, me. And that's when Adrian reached out again. This time by email. Subject, I messed up. Can we talk? I stared at it for a while. My finger hovered over the trash icon, but then I opened it. Inside was a wall of text. Excuses mixed with regret. I panicked when you were hospitalized. Investors were asking questions. I didn't mean to cut you out completely. Lies dressed in soft fabric. He ended with, I was wrong. I miss my sister. Please let's talk. I closed the tab. No reply. He didn't deserve my words. Not anymore. But the universe. It had better timing, because the following Monday, I walked into a scheduled meeting with a new logistics partner. They'd sent a junior representative to tour our headquarters. And guess who walked in behind him? Adrian. Dressed sharp, face stiff. He didn't know I'd be there. His eyes locked on mine. I didn't flinch. He looked like a man who had just remembered where the fire exits were after the smoke started rising. Miss Torres, the junior representative said, this is Adrian Torres. He just joined our tech team. I gave a tight smile. Of course, we've met. Adrian cleared his throat. Eliza, I turned to the rep. Would you excuse us for a moment? The rep nodded and stepped out. Now it was just us, brother and sister. Strangers. He spoke first. I didn't know you'd be. This is my company, I said coldly. You should have expected it. He swallowed. I didn't come here to start anything, just work. Then work, I said. He hesitated. I was wrong. I raised an eyebrow. You committed fraud. Eliza, please. I'm not here to forgive you. Silence. I stepped closer. My legacy is still here because I defended it. You lost yours because you tried to steal mine. His mouth tightened. I added one last thing. You may sit in meetings now, but don't forget who signs the contracts. Then I walked out. I heard his breath catch as I closed the door. Outside, the junior representative was scrolling on his phone. I smiled at him. Let's continue, because that's what I was doing now. Continuing. Without guilt, without apology. Without him. The day after I ran into Adrian at the partner meeting, I got a phone call from a number I hadn't seen in months. My mother. I let it ring twice, then picked up. Eliza, she said, voice sharp like she'd been rehearsing the tone. We need to talk about your brother. I said nothing. He came by the house crying, she continued. He said you've frozen him out of the company. That was true. But she didn't ask why, only how I could. You're his sister, she said, exasperated. Isn't family supposed to forgive? I stayed quiet. Then she added the part that twisted my stomach. He said you tricked the board, that you embarrassed him on purpose. I almost laughed. That's the thing with Adrian. He rewrites history the second it stops serving him. I didn't embarrass him, I said flatly. He did that to himself. She got quiet. Eliza, she said more softly, you two built this together. Isn't that worth saving? I took a breath, then asked, can I send you something? Send what? The legal documents. She hesitated. I don't need to. But I'd already emailed them. The forged filings. The lawyer's statement. Even the metadata on the vote he faked. I heard her phone ding while we were still on the call. A long pause followed. Then a shallow breath. Eliza. Her voice cracked for the first time. He said he had to act fast, that the investors were pressuring him. I didn't interrupt, because I knew the moment was coming. The one where she realized. He didn't panic. He plotted. I heard her whisper, barely audible. He signed your name. Yes, I replied. I was in a hospital bed. She didn't speak for almost a full minute. Then I heard something I hadn't expected. Sniffling. Eliza, I didn't know. I said nothing. I'm sorry, she added, voice trembling. I should have asked. You never do, I replied quietly. She started to say something else, but I cut in. This wasn't just business, Mom. This was betrayal. And if I hadn't fought back, I'd be sitting outside my own company, wondering why I kept quiet. Another long silence. Then she asked the question I'd been waiting for. What do you want us to do? And this time, I was ready. Nothing, I said. No defense, no explanation. Just sit with it. She exhaled like she'd been holding her breath for years. I don't know what to say. Then don't, I replied. And I ended the call. Not out of anger, but peace. Because for once, the truth didn't need me to argue it. It stood tall on its own. By mid-month, I was running the company alone. No co-founder beside me. No safety net. Just me and the truth. I thought the worst was behind me. Until the shareholder meeting. It was scheduled for a Thursday morning. Quarterly updates. Nothing unusual. But this time, the tension in the room was different. One of the older investors, Mr. Hale, raised his hand. Eliza, may I ask something not on the agenda? I nodded. What exactly happened with Adrian? I knew it was coming. They had every right to ask. The room went silent. Every eye turned toward me. I stood slowly and answered with zero hesitation. Adrian Torres forged legal documents to reduce my ownership stake. He filed them while I was in the hospital, post-surgery. Gasps. No one moved. I added, I have the documents. The lawyer has confirmed them. The board took action. Mr. Hale cleared his throat. And do you believe he might retaliate? A sharp question, direct, but fair. I met his gaze. I don't believe he's dangerous, I said, but I believe he's desperate. And desperation is unpredictable. Someone scribbled a note in the back row. I continued. He's not coming back. He no longer holds shares. He no longer has access. If he tries to undermine this company again, he will face legal consequences. I sat down, and for the first time in weeks, they clapped. Quietly. respectfully. Because I hadn't just survived a hostile takeover, I had rebuilt the walls and stood guard. That night, I stayed late in the office. The building was quiet. The kind of quiet that used to make me nervous. Now it felt earned. I walked past the framed photo in the hallway, one from our early days. Me and Adrian. Side by side. Hopeful. Naive. I stopped in front of it, looked at my own face, then slowly took the frame down. I didn't smash it, didn't burn it. I just opened the back, removed the photo, and slid it into a folder marked Archive. Because some memories are lessons, not decorations. Before I left, I looked out the window at the city, bright, restless, alive, just like me. And I realized something. I wasn't the same woman who sat quietly in board meetings and let others take credit. I wasn't the girl who thought loyalty meant silence. I was the woman who survived being erased and rewrote the ending. No, Adrian wasn't dangerous, but I was the thing he never saw coming. A month passed. The company stabilized. Revenue climbed. The noise around Adrian quieted. Until one morning, Tanya knocked on my door. She looked pale. "Have you seen this?" she asked, holding up her phone. It was a press release. Adrian Torres announces new startup, Bolt Loop, a next general logistics platform. I stared at the headline, then scrolled. There it was, a full statement from Adrian, claiming he left his last venture amicably, that creative differences led to his departure, that Bolt Loop was his vision all along. I could have ignored it. Could have let the lie hang in the air, but something about it made my blood run cold. Because in the product description, sure, he listed 3 features that were ours. Custom routing logic, time-sensitive package AI, supplier coordination dashboards, proprietary systems I helped build, designs that only existed inside TorqueRoute. He hadn't just reinvented himself. He had copied us, copied me. I called our legal team, pull the NDAs, the patents, every internal roadmap. Then I called a contact at VentureScope Weekly, a journalist I trusted. I sent her everything, not as an exposé, not as revenge, just the truth. She verified it. Ran the story 3 days later. Bolt Loop, accused of copying tech from former co-founder's company. Attached were diagrams, side-by-sides, even time-stamped project files with my initials. The backlash was instant. Bolt Loop's funding round stalled. One VC pulled out completely. And Adrian? He tried to go on a podcast the next day. Tried to laugh it off. Said, innovation always overlaps. But the interviewer didn't smile. They said, how do you explain the matching code line for line? He fumbled. And just like that, the mask cracked. My inbox flooded again. Messages from other founders. Women. Saying they'd been cut out, sidelined, silenced. One wrote, "You fought back. You made it public. I wish I had done that too." I sat in my office, lights dimmed, reading those messages. And for the first time, I felt something stronger than pain. Purpose. Adrian tried to erase me from my company, then tried to rebuild with my stolen blueprints. And both times, I stopped him. Not with rage, but with evidence. Not with shouting, but with silence so sharp it cut deeper than words. That night, I printed the VentureScope article, framed it, hung it beside my desk. A reminder that you don't need to burn bridges to walk away stronger. Sometimes, you just let the truth do its quiet work. And when it speaks, no one can look away. 3 months after the fallout, I stood on stage at a Women in Tech conference. Spotlights warmed my shoulders. Rows of faces stared back at me, waiting. Some knew my story. Most didn't. But they were listening. I took a deep breath. My name is Eliza Torres, I began, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of TorqueRoute. There was light applause, I continued. 3 years ago, I built this company with someone I trusted. 6 months ago, I found out that trust was fake. While I was recovering from emergency surgery, my own brother changed the ownership papers. He tried to erase me from the company I helped build. You could hear a pin drop, but I didn't get angry. I got precise. I froze payroll, built a case, and let the evidence speak. I paused. My name was restored. He was removed, and the company didn't fall apart. It got stronger. Another wave of applause, louder this time. Not for vengeance, for clarity. For every woman who's ever been called emotional, dramatic, or hard to work with just for setting a boundary, this is for you. I didn't survive this. I redesigned it. The crowd rose. Standing ovation. But I wasn't thinking about applause. I was thinking about the woman I used to be. The one who stayed late so Adrian could shine. The one who never spoke up in boardrooms. The one who answered her phone on hospital meds because the company might need her. She was gone now. And in her place? Tie-Day. A-CEO. Not in title, but in truth. After the conference, I stepped outside into the spring breeze. Tanya met me on the sidewalk. "Nice speech, boss," she said with a smirk. I smiled. "Let's get lunch." We walked together toward the corner cafe. I glanced at my phone. A missed call from my dad. No voicemail, just the number. I didn't return it. I didn't feel guilty either. Because when they all turned their backs, I faced forward. I wasn't anyone's second choice anymore. That weekend, I updated our investor deck. The cover page? Torque-Root. Built by resilience. Led by truth. And under team, there was only one founder listed now. Me. I stared at that line for a long moment. Then clicked save. Some people say revenge is sweet. But I disagree. Revenge fades. Justice lasts. And the greatest justice? Living well. On your terms. With your name in bold, where they tried to make it invisible. This is the story of how I lost everything I thought I needed. And found exactly who I am. I'm Eliza Torres. And if my brother is watching, Claude Burr. I hope he takes notes. Because this, Claude Burr, this is how you lead without stealing. And win without breaking. What do you think about Eliza's decision? Was she too harsh? Or was this the only way to truly protect herself? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more heartfelt stories about family.